Okay, so I guess I have to do like an intro thingy.
Yeah, you get to do the introduction. Congratulations.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Infinite Nonsense, where we talk about nonsense infinitely. I am Wolfethist, and I am this episode's host, joined by George 2D, Somebunny, and Rabbit Hat Plays. The topic of discussion for everyone here is an interesting one that I have a lot of stuff to say about. What do you all think is the worst gaming company, and why is it Nintendo? So yeah, George, we'll start with you, and then we'll just open up the discussion.
Yeah, George, how's your week been? Tell
Yeah,
us.
how's your week been?
Yeah, George, how's your week been?
It's all right. This is Wolf's first time, so
Yeah.
that was pretty good
Yeah,
actually.
we
That was
do
actually
some
pretty good.
small talk at the beginning.
Yeah,
but
we-
that was
we
a
do
great
the-
That
intro.
was
Yeah.
no, but that was actually really good. I like the way he did it. Like the intro
top,
part.
no,
Besides
that was
asking,
top 10
Solid,
for sure within the
clean,
past 20 episodes.
yeah, it really was like
Diddly-lumptious.
top 10 anime intros of all time. Anyway,
Number 10.
I hate so, but my week's
George
been pretty
and
good, man.
Whataburger.
Working chicken.
Waterburger foot lettuce, the last thing you want.
Waterburger fruit lettuce.
God, I hope that guy's okay. He's got a weird ass voice.
Workle Nurkle.
I'm sure
But,
he's
no,
fine.
God damn it. My week's been pretty good. It's been pretty chill. You can go on to the next person now, I guess. That's all I got to say.
Wow,
College
nothing
football was
interesting
crazy.
happening. Oh,
Absolutely nothing interesting.
All right, you know what? How
Nobody-
about this?
Nobody
My
cares about
team won
sports ball.
yesterday. My college football team won, and then the
Are
number
we
one
talking
team
soccer
in Texas.
or American
Co-
football?
American
Yawn.
football. American football.
Yawn, sports ball, yawn.
My the number one team in the nation, which is University of Texas, lost yesterday, which is
Actually,
pretty
just
crazy.
disappointing.
Yeah, no, it is. It's
No,
depressing
that you're
and
even
disappointing.
caring about football.
Oh my flipping god. Okay, that's it. That's all. That's all I wanted to say.
Unfortunate.
Okay, how about you, Some?
There's mold on my wall.
Go lick it. Lovely. How about you, Rabbit?
Wait, hold on. What about this mold on your wall? What happened?
Go lick it. Go lick it,
I-
Zoom.
We let something fester for too long without realizing, and there is mold on the wall.
Dear God.
There is mold on the wall. Mold on the wall.
And
Sounds like
there's
a
mold
song.
on the wall.
What?
It's like
It's
a
just-
Disney
it's just-
song.
Wait, Disney song.
Disney
Wait,
There's
song?
Disney
mold
song
on
with
my
mold?
wall.
There's
Oh,
mold
dear
in
rabbit,
the wall.
dear
Mold on the
rabbit.
wall.
I am
There's
so
mold on the
confused.
wall. Mold on the
Mold
Mold
wall.
on the wall.
Rapunzel,
It's
Rapunzel, let down your mold.
true. I got some vinegar and applesauce. I'm gonna see if it all comes off.
Mold on the
Go.
wall. Mold on the wall.
This is the mold episode, ladies and gentlemen.
So
Rabbit. Yeah.
my week has been interesting. I ended up finding out, you know, the keto bread that's been getting popular lately, where
Is it
there's
brioche?
less sugar.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's less
Brioche?
sugar in bread.
Shut
The
the
brioche,
fuck up. Shut the
No,
fuck
like
up.
hamburger buns, hot dog buns, sandwich slices.
I actually
all
have not
without-
been hearing about this.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I
they're,
have
like,
no
all
idea
the-
what you're talking about.
So there's a few brands that are really big that just say keto on it, that have little to no sugar in them, which is very nice. The Arnold ones are not great. I've been having to deal with those because they were accidentally bought without any thought, because it just said keto on it, and just like, these aren't as good as the Nature's Owns.
Keto.
Because the Nature's Own ones, like the hamburger buns, taste like potato buns, and I love the potato hamburger buns.
Potato
I have a
buns.
copy of Space Jam on my dresser. I didn't.
Space
Welcome to the
Jam.
Space
All
Jam.
right.
It's
We're
still
talking about-
sealed in its plastic DVD. It's beautiful.
You'll sell that on eBay. You probably get a couple $1,000 on that.
I actually
don't
have a
think
Halo
so.
Reach game for
eBay.
Xbox 360 still wrapped in plastic because I had
that
2
game is shit.
copies.
That game is shit. Don't
Nice.
worry, it's not worth anything. Trash game.
Space
I
Jam
mean,
unopened.
you could mail it to me. I have 2 Xboxes I could play it on.
There you go.
True.
But on Rabbit's freaking statement about the keto bread, there's actually I don't know if it
Were
is.
you gonna say brioche?
Shut up.
You were
There's
gonna say brioche, weren't you?
no, I was gonna say bread, but there's a type of bread here in Texas sold by a local grocery store called HEB called Higher Harvest, and they have the normal bread, the sliced bread, they have the hot dog buns, they have the burger buns, and they're all zero sugar, which is really cool.
That's
And
beautiful.
What
yeah,
bread is supposed to be.
but the thing is though, it's cheaper. It's cheaper than the brand you're talking about, Rabbit. Because I think the ones you're talking about, the keto stuff that has a big word keto in front of it, they're like $6, aren't they? Like $5 or $6 for like
no,
a pack.
they tend to be about 3 or 4 from where I get them.
Oh,
You gotta
Well, I guess that-
remember, local markets do have different prices.
Everything is bigger
Yeah.
in Texas, including the
Ne-
prices.
Nature's Own, I think, is a Florida bakery brand as well.
yeah.
And they've recently been creating bread that involves less sugar.
No
in
sugar.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really nice because I love Nature's Own's bread.
Yeah, and the thing is like I would get the keto stuff that you talked about, but the Higher Harvest stuff that I mentioned, it's only like $2.50 for like a whole loaf of bread, or like the hot dog buns, like a 6-pack, and
Hey, as
burger
long as
buns,
it
like
tastes
$6.
good, I'm
6-pack, sorry.
fine with it. But like I said, the
Yeah.
Arnold's one is like whole wheat kind of rough texture. It's just like nah.
just tastes like sand. You're biting into sand.
A little bit, or when you're trying to
sand.
spread any kind of like butter or sauce on it, it doesn't feel right. It's not bread.
If you mix it in water, you can like make a poopy castle like you do in the beach. You know, you get a
Mix it
puddle
in
of wet
water, you
sand,
make
you
a
just
water
like
I'm sorry,
drip it
did
down.
you just say a poopy castle?
A poopy
Yeah,
castle?
poopy castle. Yeah,
Do
you know,
you
you get
poop
some
in it?
bunch of wet sand. You know, you let it drip down your hand when you hold it. You know, poopy castle.
I
What?
think that's just called a
What?
sand castle. What are you talking about?
George?
Yeah.
George, are you
When you
okay?
get wet sand, leave me alone. I did that. Okay, all right. I guess
I
none of
like
y'all
wet
did that.
wet sand is fun to play with though.
Yeah,
you
wet
do
sand's
be right on that.
fine. I mean, I'm surrounded on 3 sides of my state with wet sand,
Yeah,
but I've never
but you never
heard
got
a
you never got
sandcastle
wet
called-
sand.
I've never heard it
You
called
never-
poopy castle.
You never got like wet sand, let it drip out of your hand like poop, and it's like you make a little column that
I've
looks like a
never
poopy
heard
castle.
I
it
never had-
called,
I
like,
know
poop.
exactly what you're talking about, but I have never heard of it having a name, let alone it being Poopy Castle.
Yeah,
I've never had-
Aaron,
I've never
Aaron
had
from
poop in
Game
my
Grumps,
hand
I'm
to compare it to.
Aaron from Game Grumps, I'm sorry if you're listening to this. I failed you.
It was a Game
Poopy
Grumps
sand.
reference.
No, it was a sequelitis reference.
Oh, a sequelitis reference.
Bring that back. Bring it back, man. I love that shit. It justifiably hated Ocarina of Time, which it desperately needed to. So many fucking simps on that game. It's not a good game as people make it out to be.
Oh
I
yeah,
agree.
you know who made it?
It's
you know
an
who made
average
Ocarina
game.
of Time? I can
All
tell you
right,
who made
it's a
Ocarina
great
of Time.
game. It's just not fantastic.
Nintendo made the game.
Yeah, let's bring it back to the topic. What's your most hated rival of the gaming industry?
See,
What
that was
big
my segue.
corporation?
That was my segue.
Yeah,
That's
you
a
get a
great
segue
segue.
point. There you go.
There you go.
Great segue.
All right. Anyway,
Oh,
Wolf,
man.
continue. Poopy castles, by the way.
Fucking Nintendo. I have so much beef with Nintendo. Okay,
I have a lot of chicken
I-
with Nintendo.
games are mid. They're console exclusive. They shut down anything that they don't want to sell anymore. Where people want to play their games, and they're like, "Nope, you can't do that. We're gonna take away your DS stuff. We're gonna take away all your other
They
stuff."
do
because we
genuinely
can
have
do
a
that."
lot of bad practices for. Yeah.
Just make me
You know what's
angry.
funny is that a lot of people wanted the F-Zero game, but instead of doing that, they added a fucking F-Zero car in Mario Kart 8.
I mean, they gave us F-Zero 99.
Yeah, I was about to
Okay, that
say,
does-
F-Zero
that-
99.
that
and it's
doesn't-
been
no,
getting
that doesn't-
DLC added to it, kind of like Mario.
F-Zero
F8.
99 was actually a fantastic game. I'm not gonna lie. I
It's a
loved
fun
the shit
game.
out of that.
But I'm talking about like a modernized F-Zero game with like, I don't know, modern graphics and new things, and you know, I think that's long overdue. Not F-Zero 99. Get out of here.
Every
It's like a
Nintendo
cheap way
game,
of doing it.
there is a better indie game.
True.
Tunic is better than Zelda.
Yeah, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg's a better Mario game.
Anything's better Mario game.
Like Astro Bot.
I think
You know what?
Mario's
I
Missing is a
remember
better
that
Mario game.
comparison video. I remember the comparison video. I think I know exactly what you're talking about, George.
Yep.
Well, Rabbit, I'm referencing that, but I'm also, shout out to Christy. She streams on Twitch, but she loves Astro
Literally
Bot.
who?
And that, yeah, no, literally who. And I've only talked shit about it, but I will admit here and now in this podcast that the game is actually pretty decent.
It's better
What
than
game are
anything
we talking about?
it's
Astro
better
Bot,
than
your favorite,
anything
Zoom.
that freaking any of
Astrobot
Nintendo's poopy sand.
Looks like a good game.
Poopy Sand. Poopy
Yeah,
Castle,
actually,
bro.
anything is better than Poopy Passel. I don't.
Poopy
Passel.
Passel?
Yeah, Poopy
Poopy
Passel.
pastels. New color. Poopy pastel.
Oh man! But can we all
Mine
agree
turned
though
the fuck
that
up.
can we all agree though that all the Mario games that they've released, right, like the platformer ones, they're all the same except for a few little new gimmicks. That's it. But inherently it's the same thing they re-release. And I find it really, and this is gonna call out a few people that we hang out with, but I think it's really interesting to see people get excited. Like for example, Mario Wonders, right, the new one that came out. To me, it just looks like another fucking Mario game. Like it's just
The people
the
who get excited
same
for
thing.
FIFA.
I'm
Yeah,
Dude,
exactly.
it's FIFA. It's the same game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Any
Just like the
platform is
sports
the
games.
same as Mario with a few
Okay,
gimmicks.
there's a difference between FIFA and the Mario, but I get where you're coming from. Because FIFA is quite literally one to one.
The same thing. Yeah, it is.
The difference is
2K,
graphics.
Madden, yeah.
Maybe some of the mechanics might be slightly tweaked, but
Sometimes
overall,
players.
and sometimes players. Yeah, I mean,
I will
but
make a point.
overall.
I will make a point though. College football 25, I would say that was the only one that's I believe to be to stand out from that to
You're
that.
only saying that because you want
But
to
do you
feel
throw
better
the
about
football
enjoying
differently?
it.
No, well, okay, so when was the last college football game that came out? Oh, 2014. It's been literally 11 years since the last
Why
one
do you
came
think
out.
that is?
But it's because college
one
football
cares
hasn't
about
got as
college
popular
football.
as it was. No, I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna argue that. But there hasn't been a game since then, so it's not this. It doesn't fall in the same idea of Madden, NBA 2K
what you're
because
saying,
it was
though.
the first.
It falls in the idea of a
Makes sense.
remaster.
Well,
It does. No, I'm not arguing it does. But what I'm saying is it's not a yearly release like FIFA, NBA, and that like that.
Remake,
'Cause-
my bad.
Yeah,
No,
remake.
I
But-
know what you meant. So you're good.
But at the
I'm saying
same
that
time, I know I kind of have an idea as to why that is, and that's like the larger NFL would probably have a licensing deal with a lot of these organizations like EA, where the college sports not as much.
Well, what's funny is EA admitted that they were losing money on Madden, and they saw an increased uptick of interest in college football, especially with the new rules and all this that came out the last 2 years, and they made it, and it's like made more money than any Madden game in the last like 5 years.
Yeah,
Because
of
of
that,
that, which
it's
is
new, it's
crazy.
different.
I'm gonna
It's
say
not
something.
really different. It's just it's a
It's
Madden
different
game,
than
but
Madden.
college football teams. It's just college football teams. But that's the point though. Like,
Yeah, but
I
you're
re-
not having like the mainstay character that's been in the actual scene for
You
the
mean
past
John Madden?
5-10. No.
John
I'm
Madden.
talking about players. I'm talking about the
John
player.
Madden.
What was the football player name that like got to the Super Bowl 5 different times or whatever?
okay,
in a
Rabbit. I'm gonna
row?
be honest with you. There's like
I
a
don't
lot of
remember him.
those.
No, I meant the most modern day one. That no
Which
matter
one,
like, what team
Mahomes or
he goes
Brady?
in- Brady, I think that's what his name is. Yeah.
Okay, I was about to say.
I
bro.
don't pay attention to sports too much.
I know you do, but you got to be more specific than that.
I only one I hear about is Brady. That's the name.
I think
That's
if there
like
was
me
ever
asking which water Pokemon is it from this one Pokemon game. I don't remember
Magikarp.
one of them.
Magikarp?
one of them.
Carp?
Magikarp's
Carp?
the one water Pokemon that's in every.
But no,
Pokemon
like
game.
I do think back to the Mario thing. To me, it just seems like even Zelda, I feel like, is kind of besides the open world Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but the other Zelda games, I feel like they kind of fall into that same category of the same basis of the idea, but it's the same thing.
Well,
that makes sense.
Ocarina of Time. Matt. What was the mask?
Matt Pat.
Majora's Mask. Okay,
Majora's
so
Mask,
here's the
thank
thing. There are a few subgenres of Zelda game.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they very much do follow the same formulas, but there are 3 or 4 formulas that Zeldas use.
Right.
I think 4 with the addition of Tears of the
Wild.
Kingdom and Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, I couldn't think of Breath of the Wild.
No, you're good. I was thinking more of like Echoes of Wisdom and Link's Awakening. Those two
Okay.
games aesthetically the same, but
Yes,
just
that is one of the archetypes. That is in
Yeah.
fact one of the quote unquote timelines.
Right,
And
right.
that's how most of the archetypes are, is just like they're their own, they're each the same timeline. Because
Mhm.
kind of not really, but very, very kind of oh my god, the one in the sky, Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword, yeah.
That one
That
sucked.
one was the most unique, quote unquote. Where it was kind of an amalgamation of several of the formulas. But yeah, no, Zelda absolutely formulaic, Mario formulaic, but the unfortunate thing about Mario is it's the same as any other 2D platformer.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't even have to have the Mario brand on it. It's the same thing with a few gimmicks.
Yep.
The 3D Marios, they're not as the same thing, but they're still Mario.
Like they follow their formula, right? They're not but they're their own thing. But
I was
that's
more
the
meaning
point.
not the same thing as any other platformer. The
Right.
2D ones, unfortunately, 2D platformers, you only have so much you can do.
Right. And I think this is where my bias comes in, though, and I think that's why I loved Mario RPG so much, was because it was literally a different take on the game's identity or IP.
Yeah. The only Mario games I play are the Mario and Luigi games.
Those are good games. Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah. But yeah, it just, to me, when people get excited for like Mario Wonders or these platformer Mario games, like, what are you excited about? It's the same
They want to
shit
be an elephant.
in the room.
I mean, not wrong. that was the big talking point when it was revealed, yeah. But there are different subgenres, like with for Mario, like there is with Zelda, yeah, where you have your Paper Mario RPGs, you got your Mario and Luigi RPG, you got the platformer aspects with the Super Mario Brothers, you got the old school arcade game variants, you got your semi open world Mario Odyssey. So there are different gameplay styles within Mario. It's just, for the most part, a lot of the gameplay loop situation where here's your goal, you can accomplish the goal, is relatively the same. And I feel like that's what a lot of people overarching into, oh yeah, it's just the same game. Like Pokemon's a really huge example of this. Oh, you just go around the world, you collect the 8 badges, beat the Elite Four, and that's that. It's like, well, yeah, but there's a lot of other stuff also in between all of those.
Yeah,
But
the
yeah,
Pokemon games are sold more on the monsters designs and the story, oddly enough. Not a talking point I would have expected for a Pokemon game being the story, but the more modern ones, they're sold more on the story and the Pokemon designs. Not necessarily the fight, though there is a huge competitive scene, do not get me wrong. Not necessarily sold on the fighting and that kind of thing.
Speaking of Pokemon,
no,
I think it is absolutely hilarious.
Shut up.
Nintendo stole the designs from Dragon Quest and then wants to claim the designs
stuff,
as their own IP.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's,
My frustrations with like Nintendo
I think it was
are less about their games. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's less about their games and more about their practices, right? That's what you're about to say?
Yes. I was like, the games, like, the Mario stuff is just like, it's kind of the games because it's like every year it's like, oh, Mario, Zelda. It's the same like games, kind of. I mean,
Where
not
is
the same
Donkey
exact
Kong?
It's the
games.
same IPs, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same IPs, and it's like, okay, cool, another,
Where is
That
Diddy
is-
Kong?
game.
that is like the only thing Nintendo does well, is they innovate on their own formulas. They don't create something new. They release the same thing with the gimmick of the year. They innovate on what they already had. Sometimes that gimmick isn't good. Sometimes they're huge flops. Do not get me wrong. Not huge flops, but Look at the
No,
Wii U.
yeah,
And
they
it's
Like,
just
are
like
huge flops from time to time.
yeah, but that is what they do, and they do it well. Now,
Yeah, like
as an
Pokemon.
actual fucking company, Wolf is absolutely right. They're atrocious. Like,
Yes.
I do not like them as a company.
Yeah, I
I
And
agree
like
wholeheartedly.
people who like Nintendo's games and whatnot. Like, I don't want to shun people who like Nintendo's games. I
Thank you.
personally will
I
never
will.
own a Nintendo game.
How dare
I
you?
will never buy a Nintendo game or a Nintendo product. I do not want to support Nintendo in any way. Um, and part of that is just the hardware is always subpar. It's. I mean, it might not be built to
You're
compete with the PlayStation or the Xbox. That's not kind of like their market, and like I get that. It's also like
mm,
most of their games can be ran on a phone.
okay.
Yeah.
So you're right. Their hardware is subpar, but when they create their hardware, they try and change things up. So
it's
and
kind
they
of what I was just saying
ye-
about innovation and gimmicks.
yeah, they tend to be the leader in terms of that. Like when the Switch came out with the remote access play or uh the way that the game would handle, later on Sony and Xbox and even Steam followed suit with the, oh yeah, we can have a powerful handheld console to play these games that were
Yeah,
normally only to be connected to TV. But
yeah,
Nintendo paved the way for that. And of course the first one's going to be crappy compared to the innovated versions of that. So
absolutely.
I'm very curious because they are getting to the stage where a lot of talk from Nintendo is about the next generation of their consoles and what new is going to happen that I'm curious about for sure, because that's going to shape a lot of the gaming industry in the direction that they're going to go just because of how popular Nintendo is. And for all I know, and probably for the better, is it's just going to be Switch 2.0 but with a much more powerful processing unit so that it can handle a lot of the issues that people are recently having with a lot of the games that are coming out, like with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's performance issues, or the Batman Arkham game trilogy that happened to come out for the Switch for some reason, or the
Yeah,
graphic fidelity of Mortal Kombat 1 dipping so hard compared to the Sony or Microsoft versions of the game. So yeah, that could legitimately be the only difference that appears for the next console. I don't know until it comes
yeah.
out, but that's the minimum that people are hoping for.
I also just like I feel like if you make the hardware and your own first party games run so poorly on your own hardware,
Mhm.
like what are you doing? Like you have literally the hardware to optimize the game. And it's your hardware. It's not like PCs I completely get because
Yeah.
there are so many different like combinations of
Yeah.
graphics cards, CPUs, RAM, all this other stuff that all builds this amalgamation of parts. But like with Nintendo, it's this is the Switch.
I
It's
wonder.
theoretically the same hardware,
I do
and
have a
yet,
question.
yeah,
Do you think Pokemon's a first party Nintendo game?
I don't
I don't
know.
think it is.
I don't know enough about it. I mean,
Yeah, I
Nintendo's
don't.
the only one that I've
It's
known of Pokemon. I
well,
think Nintendo
Nintendo.
owns Pokemon, but I don't think they
No,
make the games.
yeah, Game Freak owns Pokemon. It's a whole separate company, Pokemon Company,
Oh, I
but
see.
they release it for Nintendo exclusively. Um, those are the ones that have the biggest issues. I haven't heard too much in terms of performance issues for a lot of actual Nintendo first party like Mario, Legend of Zelda, Metroid.
I see. I see. I see. I see. I
Um,
understand. Even I mean,
It's
even
still the
then, like,
same question. While
yeah,
it's
they
not
still
Yeah,
have
Nintendo,
like,
you're
I
developing it
mean,
for one console. How do you not?
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
it's like,
It,
it's just they do so many things that just irk me
Oh yeah,
in so many
outside
ways.
of the gaming sphere itself, like and I get why they're going after a lot of like Switch emulators. Um and the attacking point tends to be on those Switch emulator are making money off of basically cracking into the actual copyright protected stuff that's on the Switch, which is the key pass or whatever that Switch recognizes as an official device or whatever. So
Yeah.
that I get. That's why like things like the Virtual Boy emulator or the Citrus 3DS emulator or the NDS emulator all aren't wiped off the face of the world. Same with a lot of those older ROMs aren't just completely gone. Is because Nintendo can't go after them because they're not asking for money. Granted, it's a risk to go for those ROMs and stuff because if you don't know what you're doing, you can easily go to a place that's just going to try and give you a virus. Hands down.
Yeah.
I think emulators should be perfectly fine for previous generations of console. I don't think emulation is okay for current gen.
I agree.
Like
Now,
I
there comes a
yeah.
question. There comes a question. If the main company like Sony has been doing recently with emulating PlayStation 2 games, PlayStation 1 games from the even PlayStation 3 games from the their PlayStation store.
So, sorry,
Does
kind of.
that
This
give
is.
them grounds to go after other emulators, or should that not even factor?
I
Sorry.
stand by my
Can you
statement.
repeat the question? I was looking something up. Can you repeat the question?
So companies like Sony and Nintendo,
Yeah.
they've been re-releasing a lot of their older games, but with built-in emulators onto their system that they themselves have provided. Do you think that now that they're providing the emulators on their devices for their previous generations of games, would that warrant any level of going after emulators that have been established out there for those generations of games for PC and such?
I really don't
uh,
think so
On
because
a
that's
legal,
on a legal
yeah.
standpoint. That I'm talking from moral, from my perspective. I don't think they should really be able to or should.
I agree on
well,
the
I'm
moral
like,
side, they should not. I agree
On a
with that
legal
completely.
standpoint, they have every right to. It's their
Yeah.
IP. They can do what the hell they want with it.
yeah,
You know.
and it's like it's all about like the preservation and whatnot. But anyway, I was looking up something about like older Nintendo emulators and whatnot. Um, and Citra, which the 3DS emulator was shut down by Nintendo, um, or in regards to they sued Citra. So in regards to them, like they are still going after older hardware emulators, older game emulators, and I think that's what's frustrating because if you have a game that you love to play on 3DS, you can't
Citra's
buy the
taken
game
down.
anymore because they shut down the 3DS shop, so you can't even buy it anymore. But if you wanted to play it, the only way you could play it was through an emulator or if you happen to have like a hard copy. And now you can't even play that game anymore. And Nintendo's not offering any way for you to play that game that you enjoyed playing. So it's like they're cutting off all access of you playing a game at, hopefully not promoting piracy, that you purchased a copy of from Nintendo that you still would like to play, but you can no longer play it for whatever reason. Your
Oh,
3DS
okay.
I'll
broke and
promote
you can't get rid
piracy.
of it or anything
I
like that.
God damn it, Sue.
I officially will not promote piracy.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't. I won't promote it, but like,
I
back to
don't care if you
Rabbit's
do it.
point.
You take your
No, no, no.
risk at your own peril, but I do not promote it.
Well, I'm
yeah,
not.
I won't tell you
Yeah.
to do it, but I will smile and give you a thumbs up if you do.
I don't fucking care if you do. Go ahead, do it. I don't give a shit.
I'm not
But
one to cry over, mega corporations.
yeah,
Oh
like
yeah, I don't care about the mega corporations. I'm
back
glad
to
that
Rabbit's
they're getting
point.
hit pretty hard recently.
Yeah, back to Rabbit's point though. I think if they own the IP, they can do what they want with it, and they have every right to go after people who are emulating their stuff illegally, just from a legal standpoint. Like foregoing all moral, ethical aspects of it. Like Nintendo, if they want to shut down Dolphin Emulator and all that stuff, they have every right to do so. So
You. They absolutely do from a legal standpoint, and there's the court of law, and then there's like the whole court of public opinion. And
Yeah.
what frustrates me is how many people still just like
Leave the
ride
billion
Nintendo,
dollar company alone.
and it's
Well,
like,
Wolf, let me introduce you to what a cult is. That's
I
basically
mean,
what Nintendo is. Every Pokemon fan,
the
every Mario fan, every
That's
Metroid fan.
literally every console fan. That's not even just Nintendo. That is
No,
any
I know
console
that.
fan.
I know that, but I'm keeping it to the topic what we're talking about. Nintendo. I would argue that Nintendo has a much bigger cult following than any other.
George doesn't want to
Nintendo's
set
following
himself
is
as a
much
Sony
more.
cultist. He doesn't want to.
I
Yeah, he
don't
really
like
wants.
Sony.
You
What?
are a Sony cultist. I'm sorry.
I don't like Sony. What are you talking about?
If
it was 4 or 5 years ago,
you buy the latest edition of the PlayStation almost every.
Dude's told me
every
he
time
has
they-
Okay,
15
Rabbit.
PS5s in his
Rabbit,
basement.
Rabbit.
Like,
bro.
Let me ask you a rabbit
get one.
question. Just because someone buys something, does that mean that they're a fan of that product?
Yes.
I'm gonna pull
Well,
a
yeah.
rabbit. No, that's not.
You're a fan of the product, but you might not be a fan of the company.
by
Yeah,
default,
exactly.
not necessarily.
Okay, thank
Don't-
you.
I
You're
buy
not gonna
broccoli.
buy-
I'm not a fan of broccoli.
Thank you, Soom. Thank you. I just pulled
So-
a rabbit question.
Then
Yeah.
why would you buy a PlayStation if you're not a fan of playing on the PlayStation?
I mean, I like
So
the
the question is,
Okay.
controls.
being a fan.
I like-
Okay. So what level does it constitute to be a fan? Because that's normally shorthand for being a fanatic.
I think being a fan is defending a product regardless and ignoring the pitfalls of the product. I know Sony's a bad company. I know PlayStation isn't the greatest console in the world, but I buy it because of familiarity. Because I grew
there's-
up with it.
Also, an
But I'm
argument
not-
to be made, you don't have to be a fan of a product just because you get something.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
sorry, I'm jumping back here. Because I can
Yeah, I
buy a
agree.
Nintendo Switch, not because I'm a fan of the Switch, but because
Yep.
I'm a fan of Zelda.
Yep, there you go.
Yep,
I like Metal Gear Solid, which is the games it used to be on the PlayStation, but now they're multi-platform.
That
So-
was
Yep,
the
I
same
guess that makes
logic
sense,
that
yeah.
I had with the reason why in college I bought the Xbox 360 was because I
You're
wanted
a
to try out
disappointment,
the.
son.
I know I am, but I wanted to play Mass Effect 2 that wasn't on PC at the time. So
Yeah.
because I kept seeing it on like oddly enough, it was on Comedy Central. There was a documentary on Comedy Central at night. And no, it was Sci-Fi Channel. My bad. It wasn't Comedy Central. It was Sci-Fi Channel about
Mhm.
Mass Effect 2 and its development cycle. I was like, you know what? I want to play that game. And then I ended up the only time way I could get it was getting an Xbox 360. So I was just like, okay, you know what? I guess I gotta get an Xbox 360. I ain't getting the Live Pass though. That's BS. And then
That-
I got the orange box and found out that a
Orange
third
box.
of that game couldn't be played because I didn't have the gold membership or
Live.
whatever. Yeah, the
Yeah,
live.
it.
Xbox Live Gold.
Yeah,
Because you
Talk
could
about
have
all
a
that
silver
crap,
membership.
too,
What
bro.
the point of a silver membership was, I don't know.
I already pay for internet. Don't make me pay to play on my internet.
yeah, it was basically it. Yeah, it was just
Well,
like
that was one of the bigger things I loved about PlayStation 3 PlayStation back in the day is PS3 internet, even though it wasn't the most consistent service-wise, it was free. And that's what I loved about it. I got to
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
that
was
was
online.
actually something that was really good for PlayStation.
Yeah, but again, obviously they changed, right? But I think that's what really kept me going with PlayStation back in the day, is because all my Xbox friends were like, I have to pay for gold. I'd ask my mom for money and this to get for membership. Mom would hear like, I didn't have to
Yep.
ask for anything. I just got
Yeah, that's
online and played.
ridiculous.
Meanwhile, I will say, out of all of them, I do appreciate if I went with any console, I do end up kind of going for the Nintendo console more times than not, because a lot of the extraneous purchases, if there is one, is so much cheaper. Like the live membership aspect, where you're basically paying for the services for
$20 a
online
year.
services.
The club
For-
membership or whatever?
No,
To
like the
pay
gold
to have
membership.
save game data.
No, not the pay to have
Oh.
save game data. No. Like the
You have to
online
use a separate
services.
app for your voice commands for your voice
I
parties.
don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I
Nintendo
don't
Sw-
either.
Nintendo Switch doesn't have voice controls or parties.
Correct.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah, you have to use an app to like talk to anybody else you're playing with on Nintendo
Oh
Switch.
no! I mean, not
Oh,
true
no.
for
I
all
think that's fine.
games.
Almost
but-
like I have to do that on PC for a lot of games that I'm playing
But
multiplayer.
you don't have to use your phone. You don't have to do it on
I
Xbox.
have to use a
You
third
don't
party
PlayStation.
app.
It's all built in.
I have to use a third party app still.
But it's not a whole another device.
Your microphone is. Fuck off.
Well, that's different.
The microphone. That's not different.
That is so. You have to buy a microphone. You have to buy a microphone and then use your phone, unless you want to have shitty phone quality.
Yeah, but that's another device. That's still another device you have to purchase if you want more benefits.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, but I likely already have
get
a
where
computer.
you're coming from with another computer, because I will state that smartphones are just computers.
They are.
Pretty powerful ones.
But you also have to buy
Powerful and quick.
speakers for your console, a TV for your console, except for the Switch. Actually, yeah, no, you have to buy a TV for Xboxes and PlayStations.
That's true. That's true. You got to buy a whole TV for those other consoles.
think
Nintendo, you don't
nuance
need a
is-
TV for it.
I think that's a
It is true.
nuanced point, though. It's a very nuanced point because if
Well, the point here is that none of the consoles have full functionality on their own. There are
yeah,
extras that you need for more to meet the standards of the others.
Unless you buy a Steam Deck.
accessories
which
are a
is
thing.
Which is
just
just a
a
PC.
yeah, that's just a PC, man.
It's a built-in microphone. Has
Okay.
everything there.
It's not a
All in one.
console, is what we're saying. Damn it.
Yeah,
I think it's closer to a console than a PC.
it's closer to a
I would-
PC than a console, I would say.
No, but okay. In defense of Wolf, by that logic, Rabbit, you have to admit that then the Switch is not a console. Then, if you're saying the
Yes.
Steam Deck's not a console, then the
It-
Switch is not a console. By the
Okay.
same logic, because they're both
Sure,
handhelds. You
I'll
can't.
admit that.
Okay, Rabbit
I'm not
never
gonna
said
say-
anything about it being handheld. The problem here is how it's run. Nintendo hardware only runs Nintendo things. The Steam Deck runs a full fucking operating system for a computer.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the actual console itself. It's a handheld console. It's you play games on.
Yeah.
Switch is the same thing. Switch has its own. Oh, you know, video game consoles have their own operating systems, right? It's not
Yeah.
the
Yes,
official like Windows
except-
or whatever. They're all run on
Yeah.
Linux, by the way. That's an operating system.
Yes,
If you
I'm
wanna get
aware. That's what
technical-
I'm
if you
saying.
wanna
The
get
Steam
technical,
Deck
yeah.
is running
Tag team
on. Is
Linux.
it's running on Linux? I literally mentioned that 5
Yeah, but
minutes ago, George.
Steam is not Steam. Switch is also running it on its own operating system. Was what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yes,
It's
but
not,
what
it may
I
not
was
be an
saying
official
was
one.
the
but it's its own
Linux
operating
that
system.
is on the Steam Deck can be run on any PC.
Okay, I mean, all right, that's a good point, but it's still a handheld console, regardless.
It is a handheld device like a phone, which is a computer. We just agreed on that, right?
Yeah, we did agree
I'm
on
saying
that.
Switch is also the same thing too. That's what I'm saying, and you guys are just kind of like glossing that point, but that's okay.
So you're saying that a Switch is a computer?
Glossed.
Yeah, I mean, technically, every
am-
console's a computer.
I am not
It
denying
has an
that.
architecture, doesn't it?
I am
Has
not
Okay, then
denying
if they're
SSD,
all
it has a
computers,
processor?
then the problem is the same thing, and we can just throw this all out the window because it was a pointless conversation.
Yeah,
It's because you guys don't want to admit y'all are wrong. That's the funny part.
We're not admitting we're wrong. We never said it wasn't a computer. My
No,
guy?
but you guys are denying the fact that Switch is not a computer.
No, we're not. Neither of
Switch
us said
is
it wasn't a computer.
No, wait,
Mm.
I'm sorry. You're saying that the Switch and the Steam Deck are not the same, which they are.
They are not inherently the same now.
They're the same.
Unless-
They're the same thing.
Unless we are
They're
just
the
saying
same
every
thing.
console is a computer, in that case they're the same, and the problem still stands that you have to buy extras to use them for the same
I'm not arguing
functionality
the
as any
accessories
others.
part.
I do see where George is coming from with it.
I'm not okay. So really quick, I'm
But
not
I just-
saying I'm not bringing up the accessory point. You brought that up. I'm bringing up the point that the Steam
So
Deck and the Switch are the same thing. Quite
I-
literally the same thing.
Then the phone is the same thing, the computer's the same. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
denying that they're the same thing. They're all the same thing at that point, which brings
I
us to
will-
the point where this was meaningless, George. There was
Okay.
no point to it.
They are all
So-
computers. In terms of what is the delimiter for console,
He plays video games. That's it.
and only video games.
Yes, that's what the original intention of a console was. The Atari going all the way
Then
back.
none of the
was to make
current
video
generation
games.
consoles are consoles.
So the only
No, they're
there's only one
multimedia. They're
console out
multimedia
there.
devices, pretty much at this point.
Yeah. So then, no. Twitch does YouTube or Switch.
It
does
doesn't.
YouTube.
It has a web browser.
I don't know if it has a web.
It does.
browser.
It has a
Switch
web
I know
browser.
the 3DS
Switch does.
As
did.
YouTube.
The Switch has a web browser.
I
So-
thought the 3DS was like a web store. Would that count? Or something
No,
like that?
it also had a web browser.
It had a web
it did?
browser, but
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
Switch having a web browser anymore.
It does.
I
It's
thought
in
they
a
got
really
rid of it.
weird spot. They
think
might
it
have
seems
gotten
right.
rid of it in an update, but
Because I know it still
I
has
don't know.
YouTube, so you can use it for multimedia purposes. So
It's a
still
goofy
multimedia
ass web
device.
browser, but
Yeah, it's also in a really weird spot.
The
Yeah.
whole point of that conversation was basically that you have to use an app on your phone which requires a Nintendo Switch Online membership to use the voice chat features. And you have to talk through your phone when talking to people on, in games you're playing or like whatever the Nintendo party that you're on. Everything has to be done through an app on your phone. It is a separate device, separate app, and yeah, I have to use like an hour in Discord. But all of that, the Discord and everything's bundled into the same device. It's
like for
it's
the
all
Steam Deck.
bundled. It's all bundled in. So it would be the same. Whereas if Nintendo Switch had its own, like let's say Nintendo Switch had its own like voice app thing on the device itself, but you had to buy a microphone to do that, then it would make it very similar to a computer, where the voice chat would be built in, but you had to buy a microphone. Which I mean, you could argue that the phone is also a microphone, but it just I feel like it's more
Switch does
complicated.
have a microphone. I do know that.
I was gonna say I
But
thought it did
in
have
term-
one, right?
Yeah, what
But in terms of
Wolf is
voice chat,
saying,
you can't
what
use voice
Wolf-
chat.
Yeah, I was about to say what Wolf is saying is that if you want to use Discord to talk to people, you can't do it through Switch. You have to do it from a different device
Ah,
altogether.
okay.
Not even Discord. Nintendo Switch's own chat features
you
you
can
have to
literally
use on
use-
an app.
You don't have to use Nintendo's chat features though.
I don't have to
You
use
just
Discord.
Yeah, no, I'm saying the point is you just have to use a different device. It doesn't have to be necessarily Nintendo's device.
No,
through their
but
app. You just have to use a different one. There's no reason to be specifying you have to use Nintendo's device here.
no, you don't. But it's the premise that Nintendo designed it that way. Nintendo designed its own thing. to
Nintendo
not be
designed it so
compatible
you
with
don't
its
have
own
it.
thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the whole like premise is, right? It's
Wait,
different
they
if it was like
designed
a
their whole thing
different
to
app.
not be compatible with their own thing.
Meaning you can't use
So-
the voice app on the Switch is
Oh.
all he is trying
Yeah.
to get at here.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we're making this way more complicated than it needs to be.
I didn't even know Switch had a voice app.
It
Yeah,
doesn't. That's the point.
It's on the phone. It's a
It's
Switch
a
Online
Nintendo
app on the phone.
Nintendo app
Yeah.
has a voice chat.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't go to my phone for Nintendo stuff.
Yeah, there's
Exactly.
no reason to.
Exactly.
Can we talk shit on Pokemon now?
Actually, hold on. Can we
Sure.
also just address that most games on the Switch aren't multiplayer in a way that would need voice chat?
I was about to say, yeah, Soom's got a really good point. A lot of,
Like,
I mean, maybe
Animal Crossing is probably the closest, and that has an inbuilt text chat anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Mario Party, right? Wouldn't that also be one of those?
That is a
few-
good one, yeah. But also, that's normally just done in person. If you're doing it
Yeah.
online, most likely it isn't your friends.
Yeah.
Also,
And
if
just-
you do play with friends online, normally that's
Discord.
going to be done through. Yeah, you're talking on Discord and setting
And-
things up that way.
And to be fair, most people who are going to play that are going to dock the Switch and they're going to have it set up with with a PC or like a capture card or some way, and they're going to have
like
another thing
old
to
school
do it.
consoles tend to be. Yeah.
It's not like a. The whole premise was that is just how it was designed. Like I know that it's like it might not be like an important thing to most people, especially with the environment of Switch games, because like you
Yeah.
said, most Switch games don't require that. But it's just it's something that to me just seems a bit lazy.
I'm.
I think
This kind of goes back to my thought process. Kind of went back to the idea of what is to come with Switch, and if there's problems like that occurring, especially with a lot of games coming out that use proximity chat a lot more recently.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of the talking features or in-game text or voice apps and stuff would be a part of whatever's to come with Switch. Because
I want to see the
because of
Switch
that.
2 be good and be better.
I would.
I don't want
too.
Nintendo to fail as a company. I want them to just be better because competition's good, and Nintendo
just
is
be better.
yeah. Nintendo is competition. Competition, breeds innovation and things like that. And like you said, Nintendo kind of innovated the whole handheld thing.
Yeah.
so it Nintendo is great for the competition side of things. If Nintendo came out with a Nintendo Switch 2 design that was just freaking insane and people loved it, other companies would follow. I'm sure they would
I'm gonna
because
be
that's
real.
how
I'm probably gonna pick it up first day, regardless.
Wait a minute. Is the Switch 2 the OLED one, or is that a completely different one?
That's a
we're
It's
talking
different
about
one
the
one.
that
new.
it's technically not really even known what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
We're
it
talking about
hasn't been fully
their
announced
next
yet.
device.
Yeah, the next device.
Oh, okay.
There's probably
Yeah,
going to be
okay.
more talks. I think they said that there's going to be more talks about it like at the beginning of next year.
Mhm.
But it's gotten to the point where the past couple of years there's been tons of rumors because the new generation of Nintendo games, at the very least, happen like every 6 years. This is the first time that a Nintendo game has gone, or a Nintendo console has gone almost 8 years without a change in system, effectively.
It's crazy that it
I
is
think
that
that's I
old.
think that's the I think that's the product of the times, though. To be
It's
honest.
insane. I didn't know it was. I
Mhm.
didn't even know it was that old. That's crazy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's why I think
God,
we're
I'm
seeing
old.
a lot of
Shut up, Wolf.
performance issues with the Nintendo Switch as it stands currently,
Yep.
is just because it's an older device that they haven't had a desire to update because people are still buying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just
Do y'all
I
know
just want
if
them to
Mario
be.
Kart 8 Do y'all know if Mario Kart 8 has voice chat or just text chat or whatever?
I have no idea.
I think it's just
It
text
has like
chat.
it has like pre-gen text chat, like quick menus. But that's most
Okay.
Nintendo games, or like Switch games, I mean, that
So
have
okay, so
communication features.
it's like Mario Party then in that aspect. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
Gotcha.
I don't know why I don't know why I just thought about that, but I mean that's another thing that to consider too is that I don't the US is not Nintendo's primary what's the term?
Market.
Market. Yeah. So things could be completely different in, freaking whatever
Japan.
the place. Yeah, that word. God, my brain.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Ah, yes. A whole ass country. Oh, that word.
I was
Yep.
like, bruh.
That
I was
word.
like, there's no shot that I've just forgotten the fucking Japan. Anyway,
Bro,
the
forgot a
culture,
country.
the whole culture over there is completely different than it is in the U.S. So
Yeah.
things are going to be drastically different. And my biggest issue is that like they're shutting down a lot of old games that people love. The only way to play those old games. What I would love to see, and this will never happen, but I would love to see companies, specifically Nintendo and other companies too, if they don't want people to make their own emulators or anything like that, then they can make their own. They can make their own emulator. They can still sell these games for like $2 a pop. These old games, they can still sell them, and people will still buy them if they
I
want to make money off of them.
I
You know,
agree,
just
but
do their own thing.
there's one catch that we also got to consider. There is a lot of older games that were on those consoles that the businesses are gone. The licenses for the IPs don't exist anymore. And Nintendo, even if they wanted to, wouldn't even been able to bring them back. They can only bring back what IPs that they have access or allowed to use now that aren't expired. So
They shouldn't shut down the people who do it.
it's just a product of the
They
time.
care.
Like games
Are we
that
going to talk
came
about
out for
bad
the-
practices in video game development companies?
this
isn't- man.
Pick me, pick me,
No.
pick me.
In a second. So
I want to bash Pokemon.
what I was gonna
God damn
say
it.
is a lot of games that came out like in the Game Boy era and the Nintendo 64 era, all the way through GameCube, kind of, where
Mhm.
a lot of those game companies shut down due to one reason or another because they never made a new game to continue making money, or various other factors that could have happened. But a lot of those obscure games are just going to disappear off the face of the earth because there's no way to find the old files for them to bring back to for the emulator process. I mean, I was shocked when I saw Baten Kratos for the GameCube being brought back on the Nintendo emulator store for Nintendo Online. I was like, oh shit, I kind of want to play that. I don't know if it released yet, but I do want to play that at some point. because that just brings back childhood memories for me. But it's a fairly obscured game that I didn't think was ever going to exist again. But now we can talk about bad practices in video gaming.
Well, George wants to bash on Pokemon for a little bit.
Okay.
What?
So what do we want to bash about? I mean, there's plenty
what are we
about the
bashing on
Pokemon
it?
company I can bash
Our world's
on.
better.
Power World is a completely different beast, damn it.
I'm not even gonna bring up Power World, but I don't know.
I mean,
like,
you got Temtem, you got Koromon. There's this new
Temtem actually looks fun.
Moramon Go or whatever. Cassette
There are
Beasts. There are so many Pokemon
creature
clones.
Monster
capture
Rancher,
games.
Digimon.
Dragon
actually-
Quest.
Dragon Quest came first, bitch.
I'm with Sum on that.
I'm
I
with
didn't
Sim
know
on
about
that
the
one,
whole.
too.
I didn't know Pokemon had done that until a friend of mine brought it up, and I was like, "Oh shit, you're right." And he showed me like the art from Dragon Quest. It's like, holy fuck, that is.
The problem is they all come. The earlier designs all come from yokai and stories and legends from Japan.
Right.
So the designs should be similar if they're
Well-
basing it off of the same story.
Well, there's
Yeah.
also creatures that are just creatures. Like Wolf is a wolf. A bat
Yeah,
is a
no.
bat.
Like, at the end of the day, there's also that. I mean, look at Klefki. It's a fucking key ring, brother.
Exactly.
It's literally just a key ring.
So
There's
if-
definitely
if,
like
if you
a-
want to make another key ring monster that is a key ring, you get saying I copied off of Pokemon because they used a key ring for a monster before. Yeah, no. Or even a
Dude,
wind
you started
chime,
your car.
Chimecho.
You started your car. You're copying Nintendo, bro. You're copying
Yeah,
Pokemon.
the Faroom. Oh god, the
I think
Pokemon Faroom.
The issue from that stems from the whole Nintendo being so litigious in their designs, right? When their designs are similar, and yeah, you're right. I mean, how much can you innovate a wolf or a bird or anything like that? How much different can you look without going, oh yeah, I know what that is, or that looks like something else because that's just how it looks. Oh no, my freaking white shepherd looks like a wolf. My white shepherd stole the DNA. It's just like, you can only do so much with that. But I think it's just what frustrates me is how litigious they seem in it when it comes to that. As if they were the first ones and are the only ones allowed to have designs similar.
I don't
I mean-
think Pokemon has ever done anything about like their designs.
Yeah, a lot of people were it was a lot of
I guess that's true.
Pokemon fanatics
because
that were going, oh, you gotta get them for that. You gotta get them for it. But Pokemon was like, we'll look into it. And they
Yeah.
start attacking Power World recently based upon mechanic patents that they've had. Not just the fact that you can
Yeah.
capture the Pokemon, it's how you go about capturing the Pokemon.
yeah, I was just about to say that was a misconception that I had initially had about why they were going after it, because you read one article that says they're going after him for this, and you'll never read one article. Anybody listening,
Oh, God.
read multiple articles.
Never
Get more information.
read multiple
Never trust
articles
one
from
source.
multiple sources. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
multiple sources, multiple websites. Like,
Even then, it can be a little iffy because there are so many
Yeah.
websites that will grab that one article and regurgitate it over and over and over
yeah, that
again.
too.
And
want
so you gotta
actual-
be very careful. Look for
want
you gotta look
actual
for the
research advice?
actual wording of the article.
Yes, and if you want actual research advice as well, if you want to really research something, use a different search engine than Google. Use something
You-
different than Google.
Not only that, use multiple different search engines. I know that
Yes.
sounds absurd, but what's on the front page of Bing is not going to be the same thing as DuckDuckGo, or is it
Yeah.
GoDaddy? Was GoDaddy a search engine, or was that a web like?
That's a
website
web
maker.
hosting.
Well, that was a web.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that's a different
service.
thing. But
Web
yeah, like
hosting thing.
DuckDuckGo,
Ask Jeeves.
Brave,
Don't
Ask
use-
Jeeves,
Bro
said
Yahoo,
Ask Jeeves.
Bing, Yahoo. There's 6 just to name a few.
to be fair, Ask Jeeves is Yahoo. No.
I was looking
it?
at this is kind of
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
No, Yahoo
But
was
yeah,
its
no.
own separate one,
Derailing.
wasn't it?
No, I think it like absorbed it.
Oh,
Look.
okay.
Look, all I'm saying is that I'm gonna be honest here. I don't think Pokemon has done anything
Oh, my
innovative
bad. It's ask.com now.
except for the recent Arceus game.
I
Arceus
was
Legends
about
was
to
actually
say.
a great game. But then they went back to
Scar-
the original formula that was the same bullshit again.
Well, they
and
intend
They
to
didn't.
they intend
Yeah,
to also utilize that setting or that kind of thing again.
Oh yeah, in the
Yeah,
new
Legends
in the
Off.
new
Yeah.
Legends of, but I don't know. Before that though, they haven't really innovated much. It's been the same
Yeah, Pokemon has
thing.
not had
Well,
large innovation.
I will say, okay, so Pokemon releases once every 3 years has been the tradition, and they have been slowly innovating between Generation 7 to Generation 8, where they moved to consoles and they started experimenting with open world. Then Arceus came out where they went partial full world. There was like 5 or 6 different open world segments, but it wasn't like a real open world. And then Scarlet and Violet, they went full open world where there's no random chance for a Pokemon in terms of walk through a patch of grass and then you go, I wonder what I'm gonna get. It's no, I see the Pokemon that's randomly generated there. I don't want that one. Let me try and see if I can find the ones that I want.
That shit makes me so mad.
But that's over the span of like 6 to 9 years that they did that kind of change. It's not fast, but they have been innovating and changing every time. The only
I
thing
still
that
think it's a
hasn't
mistake.
the only thing that hasn't ultimately changed is you got to go collect 8 gym badges and fight the Elite 4. That's the only thing people point to when they go, "Oh, the game has Pokemon hasn't changed at all." And it's like,
Didn't they change that once actually for Sun and Moon?
they
Didn't you technically not collect badges in the first one?
you still kind of did though, because it was
You-
checkmark areas that
I was gonna
were
say it was
totem
the same
Pokemon.
thing, but it was not gyms
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you were trying to set up the Pokemon League there rather than going through it.
Right. And then you became the first champion of that region for Generation 7. So they have innovated the story and the purpose, but the actual loop tends to
Yeah, the
be
loop is the same.
relatively the same. And that's where
Yeah.
people go, "Oh, it's never changed. It's never changed." It's like the generosity of it. Yes, I agree. But when you go into the specific games, there is actual differences that they're innovating and updating and changing upon. But the overall aspect of the game as a creature collector, where you meet certain check marks before you get to the end of the game, and there's potential post game information. You're right. That part is still there.
They changed enough to not be compared to Ubisoft games.
Oh god.
That is the
Ubisoft
question.
is the ultimate litmus test at this point, where if
Yeah.
you're too big, you claim to be too big to fail, point to Ubisoft and say, "Look at this big guy. He's fallen really hard."
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, like my biggest gripe with Pokemon is that there really isn't a sustainable competitor to that genre. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I just don't. I have not heard of anyone else coming up with a different game that's like Pokemon. But then we have Pal World coming in,
I
and
was gonna say
then
Dragon Quest
I-
Monsters is the closest we have for a large competitor.
Yeah,
I was actually
And
gonna-
it is pretty much dead in the West.
I was
well,
gonna bring.
yeah, but I mean like a
gonna-
multi-serial, multi-series style like Pokemon is what I meant.
Yeah.
Dragon
of
Quest
that.
is
No,
probably
not Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest Monsters specifically.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Because Dragon Quest Monsters is a series, and as I said, it's pretty much dead in the West. We get like 1 out of 3 releases.
Oh, that's stupid. The fuck?
Yeah, it sucks. I hate it, but
Mhm.
it doesn't sell well here.
What?
Okay.
Like, I got the latest one, which came out last December.
Oh, it looks
They
so
only
fun.
printed- I love it. They only printed like they printed a really small run for the US release because they never sell. But
That's
they also
weird.
sell like hotcakes because of the fucking limited run.
Is the Dark
I
Prince?
need to
Dragon
see if
Quest
it's still
Monsters, the Dark Prince.
still at my local store.
I was
want a
gonna say
physical
there
copy.
are still copies floating around in stores, like it,
Is it?
I just,
but yeah,
Is it
I
the
just
Dark
want
Prince?
something.
Is that the most
yeah,
recent
it's
one?
the Dark Prince. Yeah,
I have it on Steam.
I was gonna say it also just released on Steam recently. I think this
Oh,
month
nice.
even.
True, a lot of the Dragon Quest stuff has branched away from being Nintendo exclusives or
Yeah.
console exclusive, I should say.
That reminds me. So I actually want to talk about this. Talking about like this the different Pokemon S games. I was actually looking at Tim because I have had my eye on that game for a while,
I have a key
and
for it if you want it.
I would love it actually. But they just
think.
recently released an update. I guess they no longer have any microtransactions in the game. They've removed microtransactions,
Yep.
and
I
they no
didn't even know
longer
it
have.
had
Someone
it.
said they no longer have any FOMO practices.
Fear of missing out.
So
Tim. What?
FOMO.
Temtem was the one of the major
it's an
first
MMO Pokemon
Western-
S clone that uses cards, kinda.
Yeah, instead of catching them in like Pokeballs, they use card data
Cards.
pad things.
Oh, okay.
Actually, looks really good, and I was
It
wanting to.
is.
I've been wanting to pick it up and play it. I just haven't been able to.
I
But,
haven't been motivated to continue playing my game. got through,
I
like, 2
was
gyms and
playing
that
it
was
with a
it.
friend, and we just kind of stopped because we kept hitting a dead end of the content because we played it early access,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and it just yeah.
Same. No, that was kind of the same. And I was going, I'll wait for a full release, and they kind of did full release, and I just never picked it back up because there were so many other things that I wanted to do.
That's the problem, isn't it? There's just so many. There's so much to do. So much
Yeah.
to do. I don't know how much
And
time we have
Cassette
left.
Beast, I will say, Cassette Beast is a really good.
We should be
alternate.
wrapping it up.
Yeah, it's true. We should.
I haven't
We're
played
getting
Cassette
close.
Beasts.
Hold
Yeah,
on,
I'm
I gotta
recommend it.
real quick DM Wolfie here.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. But anyway, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up with that. So yeah, that was
Nintendo
great. That was
sucks.
awesome.
So who wins? Who
Uh,
loses? You got to pick the next host.
oh gosh, oh god, I forgot about the point system. There's a point system.
It's arbitrary. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
Uh,
whatever you say, man.
Yeah. I feel like Rabbit's the only one who actually keeps score. I don't really
I
keep
pick-
score.
Well, it's gotta be either Summer Rabbit because George hosted last time.
Thank
Oh
God.
no, it can be George again. You can
No,
bounce
it
it right
can't
back
be?
to him.
No,
Yeah,
it
no,
can't.
there's
George
no.
Fuck off. No.
Yeah,
Stop.
there's no
okay.
rules against it. Yeah.
This is dumb.
Host
Well,
picks.
actually
Host
dumb.
picks.
I think George and I had the most. We just really connected over this episode.
It was a lot of
with
that side
with
of the
our
table versus
minds.
this side of the table.
I hate
Um,
this.
And because of that, I don't think it would be fair to pick somebody who has a like mind for the next topic. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick Rabbit as the
Thank
winner.
God.
Yes,
Thank fucking God.
4-episode streak, baby.
Can I take it back? Dang it!
No, too late. You've already made a decision.
You committed.
But
I
Yeah,
appreciate
we're not-
the win. I am going to be hosting quite well, not like these big companies ever do.
anyway, I guess I'll end it off here since I hosted. But anyway, I don't know what episode this is, but if you're
This is
if you
actually
stuck through
20.
the whole thing. 20.
What?
Wow.
This is actually
Episode
episode 20. I just looked at my previous recordings. Last one was 19. This one's 20.
I'm off by
Sad.
1 then. I thought it was 19.
Sad.
That's why George doesn't host much. He forgets
Yeah,
something
exactly.
sometimes. Anyway, appreciate you all for watching. This has been a great episode, and tune in next time to see Rabbit host with his topic. And
Rabbit toast.
this is again, I'm Wolfe of this. This is George 2D, Somebunny, and Rabbit Hat Plays, and we appreciate you all for hanging out with us, and can't wait to see you all in the next one. So as always, I hope to see you all in this one and the next one.
You're
and
never
also,
gonna see Wolfie again. I'm killing him
and,
after this.
And the
Yeah, what
don't
happened to
fucking
Ark?
say that so.
What'd you do to Art?
And in the description, I'll put a link dump of all of our, channels and stuff. So if you guys want to watch us play or whatever, they'll be in the description box, especially Wolf's too. So
They won't. They won't. Mine won't be there.
fuck you, Sum. I tag you in every one of them.
Damn it. I'm gonna go back and edit all those out. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Wolf, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Bye.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye.